It was 6:30 in the morning. The alarm rang loudly, echoing through the small bedroom. But Alex didn't move. He turned the alarm off, pulled the blanket higher, and told himself, just 5 more minutes. 5 minutes became 30. By the time he opened his eyes again, the sun was already shining through the curtains. He had done it again. Another morning wasted. Alex stared at the ceiling, his mind heavy with the same tired thoughts. He was 24, jobless, and lost. He spent most of his time scrolling through social media, watching other people's lives, people traveling, working hard, smiling, achieving things. Meanwhile, he was doing nothing. Every day, he promised himself that tomorrow would be different. Tomorrow, I'll wake up early. Tomorrow, I'll study. Tomorrow, I'll change. But tomorrow never came. That morning, something felt different. Maybe it was the silence in the room. Maybe it was the sunlight hitting the dusty desk, where half-open notebooks and empty coffee cups lay. Alex sighed and sat up slowly. He picked up his phone and opened his messages. No new notifications. He scrolled through Instagram. One of his school friends had just posted a picture from London. Another was running his own business. Another had just gotten married. Alex's stomach tightened. He whispered to himself, "What am I even doing with my life?" His voice sounded strange, tired, almost unfamiliar. He rubbed his face and looked at the reflection in the mirror across the room. His eyes looked dull. His hair was messy. He barely recognized himself. At that moment, something inside him snapped. He got up, walked to the mirror, and said softly but clearly, "I can't keep living like this. I'm wasting my life." The words hit him like cold water. Brain English practice section. Repeat after me. I can't keep living like this. I am wasting my life. I need to change. Repeat these lines slowly and clearly. Let them mean something to you. After a few minutes, Alex opened his old notebook, the one he used to write goals in back in college. On the first page, there was a list titled, My Dream Life. It said things like, be fit and healthy, learn new skills, travel the world, make my parents proud. He touched the paper gently. These words felt like they belonged to a different person, a version of himself that was alive, hopeful, and full of dreams. He turned to a blank page and wrote in big, bold letters, "No more excuses." Then, underneath, he wrote 3 questions. 1. What am I doing with my time? 2. What kind of person do I want to become? 3. What can I do today to start changing? He didn't have all the answers, but for the first time in months, he was asking the right questions. Later that day, Alex went outside for a walk. It had been so long since he stepped out without a reason. The air felt fresh. People were going to work, jogging, buying coffee, living their lives. He watched an old man sweeping the street with quiet focus. He watched a group of students laughing as they walked to school. Everyone seemed to have a purpose. He realized life doesn't wait for anyone. Whether you move or not, the world keeps moving. Time doesn't stop. As he walked, a thought grew stronger in his mind. If I don't start now, when will I? He remembered a quote he had seen once. A year from now, you'll wish you had started today. Those words hit deep. He stopped walking, took out his phone, and deleted the social media apps that wasted most of his time. His fingers trembled a little, but inside, he felt something powerful: control. He smiled faintly and whispered, I'm starting now. Speech balloon English practice sentences. Say these slowly and clearly. I am starting now. I am taking control of my life. Every minute matters. Practice speaking them aloud with confidence. When he got home, Alex sat at his desk again. He made a list of small things he could start doing: waking up early, reading for 15 minutes, exercising, and learning English for 30 minutes a day. He didn't want big promises anymore. He wanted real habits. As he wrote, he felt a spark of energy. Not excitement, something deeper. Hope. That night, before sleeping, Alex whispered to himself, tomorrow won't be another wasted day. He smiled, not because everything had changed, but because for the first time, he believed it could. The first step to becoming your best self is realizing you're wasting time and deciding you won't anymore. Don't wait for the perfect day. Don't wait for motivation. Just start with one small action, today. The next morning, Alex's alarm rang at 6:30 a.m. Again, the same sound, the same room. But this time, something was different. He didn't press snooze. His body felt heavy, his mind whispered, just sleep a little longer. But he sat up anyway. He rubbed his eyes, took a deep breath, and whispered. Not today, I promised myself. He stood up, stretched, and looked at the mirror. The same tired face stared back, but there was something new in his eyes' determination. He brushed his teeth, washed his face, and made a cup of coffee. The smell filled the small room as the sun began to rise outside his window. For the first time in a long time, Alex felt a quiet sense of pride. He had won the first battle of the day. He sat down at his desk with his notebook open. On the first page, the words stared back at him. No more excuses. Underneath, his small list of goals looked simple: wake up early, read, exercise, and learn English. But as he started reading his English book, his mind began to wander. This is boring, I'll do it later. The thoughts came fast and strong. He reached for his phone out of habit, then stopped himself. No, he said firmly. Focus. It felt strange to talk to himself, but somehow it helped. He read a few pages slowly, repeating each sentence out loud. His pronunciation was rough, but he didn't care. Each word felt like a small victory. Speech balloon English practice section. Say these aloud with confidence. I will stay focused. I will not give up. Small progress is still progress. Repeat 3 times. Let the words become real. After reading, he went out for a short walk. The morning air felt fresh, the streets quiet. As he walked, he could feel his thoughts clearing. For the first time, he noticed the sound of birds, the feeling of wind on his face, and the simple peace of being outside early. He thought, this is what living feels like. Later that day, he started exercising. Push-ups, sit-ups, only a few, but enough to make him sweat. His muscles ached, but his heart felt stronger. Afterwards, he sat again with his notebook and wrote, Day 1, I kept my promise. He smiled. It was a small sentence, but it meant everything. The following days were not easy. On day 3, he woke up late again. He felt guilty, disappointed, frustrated. For a moment, he wanted to quit, to tell himself it was useless. But then he remembered a line he once read. Falling down is not failure. Staying down is. He stood up, brushed his hair, and said, Okay, I'm late, but I'm still doing it. He completed his morning reading and workout anyway. That small decision, to continue even after failing, became his turning point. Over the next few weeks, Alex's days began to take shape. He created a small routine. Sun, wake up early. Open book, read English for 30 minutes. Biceps exercise. Writing hand, write 1 paragraph about his day in English. At first, it felt mechanical. But soon, it became natural. He started noticing changes. He spoke English more confidently, his mind felt sharper, and his days felt more meaningful. Still, there were days when motivation disappeared. Some mornings, he woke up tired, thinking, what's the point? But then he would open his notebook and read his first words again, no more excuses. That sentence became his anchor. Brain Mini English Lesson. Motivation words. Here are 5 power words to remember. 1. Discipline, doing what is right, even when it's hard. 2. Consistency, doing something every day, even when you don't feel like it. 3. Effort, giving your best in every small action. 4. Growth, becoming better step by step. 5. Focus, keeping your mind on what truly matters. Repeat. Discipline is stronger than motivation. One evening, as Alex was studying, his friend Jake called. Hey man, come hang out. We're watching a movie tonight. For a second, Alex felt tempted. He hadn't seen his friends in a while. But he looked at his open book, at the page he had promised to finish. He hesitated, then said, I'll join later. I just want to finish this first. There was silence on the other end. You, studying instead of chilling? Jake laughed. You've changed. Alex smiled. Yeah, he said quietly, I'm trying. He didn't realize it, but in that small choice, he had taken another step toward the best version of himself. At night, after finishing his reading, Alex wrote in his notebook again. Day 10, I almost gave up today, but I didn't. He underlined it twice. Looking at those words, he felt proud, not because he was perfect, but because he was improving. He had learned something valuable, success isn't built on big moments. It's built on small wins repeated every day. Every change begins inside you. The battle is not with the world, it's with your mind. Your thoughts will tell you to give up, to delay, to stay comfortable. But when you choose discipline over comfort, you grow. Each day Alex fought that battle, and each day he grew a little stronger. He wasn't just learning English or building habits, he was rebuilding his life, one decision at a time. 6 months later, the sun rose gently through the curtains of Alex's small room. The same room that once felt lifeless now looked completely different. The desk was clean and organized, books were neatly stacked, and a cup of black coffee steamed beside his laptop. The once silent space was now full of purpose and peace. The alarm rang at 6 in the morning, and before it could even finish, Alex turned it off. He stretched his arms and smiled. "Today matters," he whispered. Those 2 words had become the rule of his life. He opened his old notebook, the one that began with the words, "No more excuses." The pages were filled with notes, reflections, English phrases, and daily goals. Some pages were messy, some were written in shaky handwriting, but every line told a story of effort and growth. On a fresh page, he wrote, "Day 180, I am living my best version." He paused for a moment and smiled softly. 6 months ago, Alex was lost. He was unmotivated, waking up late, and wasting hours on his phone. But now, he was working part-time as an English tutor, teaching beginners the very lessons he once struggled with. He had also started sharing short motivational videos online where he spoke slowly and clearly in English about self-improvement, consistency, and hope. At first, only a few people watched his videos, but slowly the numbers grew. Viewers left kind comments such as, "Your words inspired me, I started studying again because of you," and, "Thank you, Alex. You helped me believe in myself." Each message touched his heart deeply. He realized he wasn't just improving his own life anymore, he was inspiring others to improve theirs. One evening, Alex met his old friend Jake at a cafe. Jake was the same friend who had laughed when Alex chose studying over watching movies. This time, Jake smiled and said, "Man, you've really changed. I've been watching your videos. They're actually really good." Alex laughed. "Thanks. I just talk about what I've learned. 6 months ago, I was wasting my days. Now I know what it means to live with purpose." Jake looked thoughtful and said, "You make it sound simple." Alex looked down at his coffee cup and replied, "It's not simple. It's just possible. You just have to start." Jake nodded slowly and said, "Maybe I'll start too." Those words made Alex's heart feel light. He realized something powerful that day: change spreads from one person to another. That night, when Alex returned home, he sat by his window and looked out at the quiet city. Streetlights glowed softly, and far away he could see people walking home from work. He thought about his past, all the mornings he had wasted, the excuses, the fear, and the endless scrolling through social media. He whispered to himself, "I lost so much time, but I finally learned how precious it is." Then he opened his notebook and wrote, "Don't waste your life. You only get one." Over the next few months, Alex continued to grow. He wasn't chasing perfection anymore, he was chasing progress. He began volunteering at a local school, helping children learn English through stories. The kids loved his energy and called him Teacher Alex. Every time one of them spoke a new English sentence confidently, he felt a sense of pride he had never known before. One afternoon, as he was leaving the classroom, a little boy ran up to him and said, "Teacher Alex, I want to be like you." Alex smiled kindly and replied, "You don't need to be like me. You just need to be the best version of you." The boy nodded happily, and that small moment stayed in Alex's heart forever. He realized that inspiring others was the greatest reward of all. That evening, Alex sat at his desk to record another short motivational video for his YouTube channel. The title on the screen read, "Don't Waste Your Life." He looked straight into the camera and began to speak from the heart. He said, "A few months ago, I was lost. I kept waiting for motivation, waiting for the perfect time to start. But that day never came until I decided to stop waiting. The truth is, life doesn't wait for anyone. You either use your time or you lose it. Don't wait for motivation. Create it. Don't wait for the right moment. Start with what you have." Every small action you take today brings you closer to your dream. So please, don't waste your life. Make it count. When the video ended, Alex sat in silence for a few seconds. He wasn't smiling for the camera this time, he was smiling for himself. He had finally found peace, not because his life was perfect, but because he was finally living with purpose. That night, before sleeping, Alex looked around his room. It was the same space he had once hated, but now it felt warm and full of hope. He closed his eyes and whispered, "Thank you, God, for giving me another chance to live right." He turned off the lights, feeling calm and fulfilled. Alex was no longer waiting for life to begin. He was living it.